happened, but last night, ladies and gentlemen, the voters almost unanimously got it right. Not in voting for Chevy Johnson, not in the 11th Aldermanic District, but in all but one of the school referenda that were on the ballot last night. All but one failed. Welcome to the Dan O'Donnell Show on this Wednesday morning. Another foray into broadcast competence. If you'd like to join us, the AdventNews.com talk and text line is open. 414-799-1130. Reach us toll free. 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com. The Dan O'Cam is live on X at Dan O'Donnell Show there. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show as well. Please do follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. Smash that like button, as the kids say. All but one school referenda or ballot measures allowing school districts to exceed their revenue limits went down to defeat last night. Now, there are educators out there, I'm sure, in my listening audience who are saying, Dan, what do you mean? Why did voters get it right? The children need money. It is beyond underhanded, especially for the Burlington area school district, which went to referendum, and a referendum failed last April, to put these measures on the ballot in a primary. Why? They know darn well most people are not going to vote. Spring elections are notoriously low turnout, except once every 4 years. This year, the presidential primary. Now, it's almost certain that by the time Wisconsin's presidential primary runs in April, the races are both going to be long decided. It took an act of the Wisconsin Supreme Court to even get a ballot challenger to Joe Biden. And by Wisconsin, I fully expect that Nikki Haley, who announced big state of the race announcement yesterday, she announced that nothing has changed whatsoever in the state of the race. Sort of a fake out, and I know why campaigns do this. This was her last best chance to get national media before Saturday's South Carolina primary, where she's going to get slaughtered. But her money's going to run out. She is almost certainly not going to be in the race by April. Still, a lot of people turn out for presidential primaries. Anytime President Trump, anytime the President of the United States, even if it's Biden is on the ballot, you get genuinely a lot of interest in it. You get high turnout, even when the primaries don't really matter. So Burlington, Waterford, Wilmot, Shiocton, they all wanted to avoid that because they knew a lot of Trump people would be going to the ballots. Now, which way do you think most Trump people, most conservatives, are going to vote on school referenda? No. So they went to the primary. They said, okay, we're going to get as low a turnout election as humanly possible. And folks, outside of, say, a special election in the tiniest state assembly district in the state, you are not going to get a lower turnout election than a spring primary in the middle of February, even though it was an absolutely beautiful day yesterday. What are we supposed to get up to, about 55 today? The temperature said 47, 48, but boy, it felt like about 75 when I walked out after the first show yesterday. So the weather wasn't a factor, but it usually is. That drives turnout even lower, and most of the time, frankly, there isn't a whole lot on the ballot because the way that school board elections and most municipal elections are done is there are like 4 candidates running for 2 seats. There are 6 candidates running for 3 seats. Only when you have a ton of candidates are there actually primaries on the ballot. So these school districts all put their referenda on the ballot thinking, and this is strategic, thinking that the supporters of their referendum would come out in greater numbers. But I am so proud of you, residents, especially of Waterford and Burlington. Waterford voters rejected a $77.8 million referendum and an additional $14.2 $2 million referendum in 54-46 and 56-44 votes. The total vote number was not all that high, but it was clear to me, since I don't think, producer Dave, you tend to listen to a lot more talk radio than I do. I don't think there was a whole lot of discussion about this. I certainly didn't talk about it. I believe I mentioned it once or twice just because we have a lot of listeners in Waterford, and they were saying, Dan, can you please mention it? I think I mentioned it once. Hey, wouldn't you know it, Waterford is going to referendum, and the amount is staggering, $91 million. By way of comparison, Milwaukee School District, which is many, many times larger than Waterford, is asking for $252 million. It's a lot of money to impose on taxpayers in a smaller tax base, much smaller tax base than the city of Milwaukee. Voters said no. Burlington voters rejected 53 to 47%, an $11 million referendum, the second straight year that they did so. In April 2023, they rejected an attempt by the school board to exceed the state revenue limit by up to $8 million per year for 3 school years. They came back with a smaller ask next year. Voters said no. In Wilmot, a referendum to exceed revenue limits by $7.5 million total over the next 3 years goes down to defeat, 54% to 46%. Now, Shiocton did pass. This is in Outagamie County. The Shiocton High School referendum passed a measure to exceed revenue limits, but voters rejected a $35.8 million facility improvement referendum, 57-43. An effort in St. Croix County, the Menominee School District, to exceed revenue limits by $4.2 million per year failed overwhelmingly, 59-41. The only one that passed was in Barron County. A Cumberland Schools $33 million referendum passed equally overwhelmingly, 55% to 45%. Frankly, people are tired of the constant referenda. They are tired of the bombardment of requests for more money. They are tired of school districts being wholly unable to budget for facility improvements. Anytime there is some cost that isn't even unexpected, they'll say, oh, well, we need improvements in the heating and air conditioning system. Oh, but we also want massive improvements to the gym. Oh, well, might as well just do it, right? Well, it's only $535 a year extra. Yeah, as if taxpayers haven't been paying a whole lot more in both taxes and the cost of everything going up over the past 3 years. Voters are tired of it. Now, I'm not saying that voters in the city of Milwaukee are going to reject a $250 million referendum just 4 years after they passed an $87 million referendum for one of the single worst performing school districts in the entire state. Certainly the worst performing big school district in the state, and one of the worst performing in the entire country. Oh, Dan, what are you talking about? They meet expectations. DPI report card, didn't you see it? Yeah. I also saw how the Department of Public Instruction just changed its standards, a score that MPS got under previous report cards would have been failing. Now, though, they raised the standards, or they lowered the standards. They raised the grades. It was essentially grade inflation on the DPI report cards. Literally the only reason MPS passed. Now, I am convinced that the reason that they raised these is because the Department of Public Instruction didn't want the embarrassment of so many school districts meeting few expectations or failing to meet any expectations, which is what they were getting. So they say, all right, well, the scores are going to be a whole lot more lenient. Elsewhere on primary day yesterday, as expected, it was a shellacking by Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson. I, however, was disappointed. As much as I do like David King, and I do, he is a nice guy. He's pretty much run for everything you can possibly run for. Last time he ran for lieutenant governor as a Republican. He advances to face Chevy in the general election. I was disappointed. Aisha Griffin finished a distant third. Now, fortunately, since Cavalier Johnson and David King are both African American, Aisha Griffin can still say she is not the white man's B. There was no white man who made Aisha their B in that election. Would she now say she is David King and Cavalier Johnson's B? Aisha Griffin, of course, in 2010, for those who don't remember the reference, wanted to put next to her name on the ballot, not the white man's B, with B spelled out. And I think you understand what word I'm talking about. It is not the white man's bride, okay? Not the white man's, you can guess the word. Let's just put it that way. So Aisha finishes a distant third. The race that we spent the most time talking about was the three-way primary of doom in the Milwaukee Common Council's race. You had three of the worst options I could imagine. Lee Whitting, convicted felon, had to be pardoned by Governor Evers after stealing money from his employer back in 1980. He went out right away as soon as he entered this race and put out a flyer just savaging his two primary opponents. Josh Zepnick, who lost the bid for re-election to the state assembly back in 2018 after he sexually harassed two women in a drunken stupor, kissing them without their consent. And also Peter Bergelis, who donated $100 to child predator and child porn collector aficionado, if you will, Judge Brett Blamey. Bergelis, of course, came out and said, this is an anti-gay attack. Why? Because I'm gay and I donated to a gay pedophile. He's trying to tie me to this. This is homophobic in the extreme. Well, Whitting finished a distant third. Bergelis is probably going to win the general election. My producer lives in the district. Do you care if I tell them who you voted for? You don't care? Dave voted for Josh Zepnick. I actually agreed he was the least worst option. There was no chance Whitting was ever going to compete in this race because he just didn't have the name recognition. And in as much as anyone knew who Lee Whitting is, it was because, oh yeah, he's the convicted felon who was stealing money from his employer 40-some years ago. Bergelis is a Milwaukee County supervisor who's looking for a massive pay increase. Remember, county board positions are part-time, and the city of Milwaukee just voted itself massive pay raises. It still boggles my mind that people are, that huge fluff piece on Chevy Johnson and David Crowley. Did we cover that on this show or the Belling Show? This show? Okay. They're all running together on me, all the shows I'm hosting. So yesterday we told you about the big puff piece about Cavalier Johnson and David Crowley saying that, wow, these guys have just done so much. There's no chance Cavalier is going to have a significant opponent. Who would ever want to run against them? And the big thing they did was massively increase the sales tax on their residents. Well, of course, it wasn't mentioned in this big puff piece in the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that they also voted themselves more money. City of Milwaukee mayor and pretty much every elected or appointed position gets a huge pay raise. I was the one who broke this story way back in the fall, and they said, well, you know, we haven't gotten raises in forever, and, you know, he was doing difficult work. Oh, okay, well, just a couple of months ago, they were pleading poverty, saying we can't afford to pay our bills. And then they go out and buy a new iPhone. Isn't that the exact... Your buddy comes to you and he says, Dan, they're going to foreclose on my house. Please, I just need $1,000 to make my payment. Please. And you say, sure, of course I will do it. You are in such dire financial straits. And then you see the guy rolling up in a mink coat like he's Don King. You'd be a little miffed. Well, this is the government equivalent of that. So, of course, Burgess wants to cash in on this. He wants his near $100,000 salary as a Milwaukee alderman. Now, you might remember, and we've been talking about this quite a bit, because whenever someone hears the name Peter Burgess, it is my mission to, just as when you hear the name Lee Whitting, oh, you think convicted felon. Yes, that's the guy who was stealing money from his employer. I want you to think Peter Burgess. He's the guy who pretended to be the victim of a hate crime at Mayfair Mall when really he got into a fight with a dude over a parking space. So as I said, no real good options in that one. It is just amazing how you got three of the single worst Democrats you could find all in one primary. How exactly are the new legislative maps going to impact the upcoming elections? Well, we have what I believe to be the best analysis of them coming up.
This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my friends at the Lynch Automotive family of dealerships. It's Truck Month once again at Lynch, and they have all the American trucks you love. Chevys, GMCs, Fords, Rams. Take advantage of these low financing offers this month. Purchase a new Chevy Silverado or GMC Sierra and receive 2.9% financing for up to 72 months, or pay just 1.9% financing for up to 72 months on select new Ford F-150s in stock, or receive a $4,500 rebate when you buy a new Ram truck. Also included in every new vehicle purchase at the Lynch family of dealerships, the Lynch Protected program, which covers your paint, windshield, and tires for 1 year after purchase at absolutely no cost to you. Low financing and peace of mind when you choose Lynch. Head over to shoplynch.com today. That's shoplynch.com.
Don't miss By the Yard's preseason sale going on now through March 4th. Order now and be summer ready with new maintenance-free outdoor furniture backed by a 35-year warranty. Explore new arrivals at By the Yard showroom at Mayfair Mall or shop at bytheyard.net.
Sendix just bought 5 truckloads of delicious seafood and are passing the savings on to you. Check out these half-price deals today. Jumbo Canadian walleye fillets are just $7.99 a pound. And if you love shrimp, raw 31 to 35-count butterflied shrimp are $3.99 a pound. Sendix large Golden King crab legs are just $17.99 a pound. And premium farm-raised Chilean coho salmon fillets are just $6.99 a pound. Get your order in on these and other amazing seafood deals now at Sendix.com. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Do you know you need a new roof? Of course you do. For award-winning service and a free consultation, visit Klaus Roofing Systems by BuckBuckley.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Don't let everyday aches and pains keep you from living your best life.
I don't think I really understood what people meant when they talked about pain until I started feeling it myself.
Start feeling better every day with Relief Factor, a daily supplement designed to support your body's fight against aches and pains.
Not only do I move better without pain, I just feel better.
Created by doctors, Relief Factor uses a unique formula of natural ingredients that target 4 metabolic pathways to address pain. Relief Factor doesn't just mask aches and pains, it helps reduce or even eliminate them.
Today, I do the things I love, and it doesn't occur to me to think about pain.
You can feel the difference all day, every day.
Join the over 1 million people who have tried Relief Factor's 3-week Quick Start Kit. It's only $19.95 and comes with our Feel Better or Your Money Back guarantee. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Sorry if I don't see you. Remind me of my eyes cross you. Keep in mind I'm not here, I'm in a different zone.
Talk radio redefined.
Sorry if my words hurt you. I wish I
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
Milwaukee Journal Sentinel's political analyst Craig Gilbert, quite excited. I mean, I could feel the thrill running up his leg as he was writing his latest piece on the analysis of the new legislative maps. And that Democrats were finally going to win back control of the state legislature. He inadvertently admits, by the way, that Governor Evers' maps are a complete gerrymander, as if you needed any other evidence besides the fact that just take a look at the state Senate new maps. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different Republicans who are drawn into the same district as one another. In one district, there are 3 incumbent Republican senators who are all drawn into the same district: Rob Coles, Andre Jacques, and Eric Wimberger. Only one of them, I think it goes without saying, can represent that Senate district. In addition, Senator Joan Ballweg and Senator John Jagler drawn into the same district. Julian Bradley and Senator Van Wangard drawn into the same district. Senator Dan Knodel and Senator Dewey Strobel drawn into the same district. There is one Republican versus Democrat Senate pairing, that is Jesse James taking on Democrat Jeff Smith. And there is one Democrat versus Democrat pairing, Senator Melissa Agard and Senator Kelda Helen Royce. How much you want to bet that one of those two women, Agard or Royce, gets rewarded with some gig in the Evers administration? Now, okay, all right, there's only going to be one of you representing a 78.6% Democratic district or an 86.9%. This is how overwhelmingly the Madison area is Democratic. According to the best analysis I've seen from Michael Best Strategies, which I was able to get my grubby little fingers on, Agard represents currently, or under the old maps, a district that is 78.6% Democrat. Kelda Helen Royce, a district that is 86.9% Democrat. One of those two women is going to be rewarded for stepping aside for the others, so there's not going to be a hotly contested primary. I can just tell you how Democrats do things. So under Evers' maps, 6 incumbent Republican senators are guaranteed to be out. Guaranteed. Just because they're going to be drawn into primaries against each other. This is classic gerrymandering, and only one Democrat is guaranteed to be out under these maps. It's classic gerrymandering. It's taking out the political opposition by forcing them to run against fellow Republicans so that only one can come out. It's sort of like Highlander. There can be only one. So one of those 3 Republicans in the Coles-Jacques Wimberger district, 2 of those guys are going to be politically beheaded. They're not going to be in the state Senate anymore, unless, of course, they want to move and establish residency before the election. I don't think I need to tell you that is sort of not possible. According to the Michael Best Strategies analysis, the projected Senate makeup, there are 33 state Senate seats. Projected Senate makeup, 18 Democrats, 15 Republicans. That's a massive shift. Now, not every senator is up in 2024, and according to Craig Gilbert's analysis, Democrats are only favored to win in 10 of the 14 seats. Oh, that's right. Agard is running for Dane County executive, so it doesn't even matter. I totally forgot about that. Great pull, producer Dave. Doesn't even matter. She ain't going back. The projected assembly makeup under these maps, 50 Republicans, 49 Dems. So Governor Evers just gerrymandered himself a Democratic majority, and nobody is saying boo because, well, Dan, he's just trying to undo that horrible Republican gerrymander. We will discuss that and get to all the assembly pairings that are going to knock out a whole lot of incumbent Republicans there coming up next.
Dan O'Donnell is coming right back.
Struggling to get rid of those unwanted pounds? Stress, aging, and so many factors that are near impossible to control lead to diet and exercise resistant fat. Fat that's not your fault, but is for sure a problem. Well, until now. The doctors and experienced staff at A Younger You Medical Spa can help you get rid of stubborn, unwanted fat. With Cool Sculpting, they have performed over 5,000 treatments to help clients feel fit and confident. This fat freezing procedure uses cooling to remove fat from areas such as thighs, stomach, love handles, arms, and underneath the chin. Cool Sculpting is a non-surgical way to reduce fat and get the body you've always dreamed of. An FDA-cleared and clinically proven procedure that freezes unwanted fat cells for good with little to no downtime. And treatments are just under an hour. And with their amazing special of 50% off 8+ treatments, it's never been more affordable to transform your body for good. Book your free consultation now. A Younger You Medical Spa in Brookfield and Burlington or at ayoungeryou.com.
It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm Dan O'Donnell, joined by the president and CEO of Annex, Dave Spano. And this week, Dave, it seems like finally, at long last, the markets and the Fed are seeing eye to eye.
Yeah, that's really true. You know, we were looking at a number of rate cuts throughout 2024. The markets had expected 6 early on when the Fed was indicating 3. Either way, we're going to see some rate cuts. But right now, the Fed is coming back to reality. There's probably going to be rate cuts, and the market's starting to think there might only be 3 or 4, not the 6 that they wanted. And why that's important is that we're still going to get rate cuts as we go into the year. How many and when is obviously the question. Probably not in March with the meeting coming up, but more likely later in the year because inflation is stickier. I know people don't want to hear that, but what we're starting to see is prices still staying higher than the Fed's target. Why is that important? Because the rates right now, if they start to come back down too soon, inflation may stick around longer than they want. So you got to go through your portfolio and say, because rates are going to move, what's that going to mean for mortgage rates? What's it going to mean for my bond portfolio? And as important, what is it going to mean for your stock portfolio, Dan? All of this goes into making sure you know what you own, why you own it, and how much you're paying for it.
Yeah, and this is why you really do need to head to annexwealth.com, because what were we expecting years ago in 2024? A recession. We might get a soft landing. We might not get a landing at all. Then we were expecting rate cuts up the wazoo that were going to push markets even higher. Well, it turns out we're not getting that. The market moves quickly. Things change quickly, especially in an election year. And that's why you need a review of your portfolio. It's a wealth metric available at annexwealth.com. For Dave Spano, president and CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. Thanks for listening to This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Snowmobiling is a great way to find your adventure in Wisconsin. With thousands of trails to explore, there's always something new to discover. No matter where you ride, think smart before you start. Wear a helmet and dress for the weather. Check with area bait shops for local ice conditions. Never drink and ride. Every year, we lose snowmobilers to crashes that could have been prevented. Reach your destination safely every time. For more safety tips, visit dnr.wi.gov.
Here's a penny for your thoughts. There's about 11,000 tire-related crashes every year.
Mostly due to driving around on underinflated, beat-up, worn-out tires with low tread.
A couple of clicks at richlawns.com will get you scheduled for a free tire tread test.
But if you're pressed for time, there's an old trick we use in the tire industry that'll tell you if you need tires.
And that's free, too.
My dad showed me, who learned it from his dad, who learned it from someone else way back in 1964.
Ah, yes. The old penny test.
Yep, just place a penny head first.
As in upside down.
Into the groove of your tire. Now, if you can see the top of Lincoln's head, you're due for tires.
And hey, if the free penny test frazzles you, book an appointment at richlawns.com.
If your tires are good,
no harm, no foul, because it won't cost you a penny. Be safe, buckle up, and hang. Always make sure you've got good tread on your tires. I'm Brett Matchke with Rich Lawns. You're
due for service.
Such a refreshing change. Rich Lawns.
It's easy to see. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. We all know something big is coming, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming more self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, and they make it easy for you to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure some emergency food kits. There's a dozen to choose from that contain tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells large solar generators, gravity-powered water filtration systems, heirloom seeds for your garden, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items will ship that same day. Time is short. Prepare today. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
I know, some houses are strange, weird, need significant repairs, perhaps just really tough to sell. I get it. You feel you need to pay 6% to sell it, and maybe you truly do. This is Bob Tarantino from Redefined Realty. If you have a property that is kind of normal, generally really nice, maybe even just plain stunning, the Redefined Realty 3.99% commission plan will get the job done just fine. Our marketing is amazingly similar to the 6% brokers. We're even in the same local MLS. Visit redefinedrealty.com for details and a free market analysis.
When is a new legislative map that guarantees 17 members of the opposing political party lose their seats not a partisan gerrymander? When it's done by Democrats, of course. In the assembly races, 11 pairs of Republicans, 22 Republicans in all, are drawn into assembly districts with other Republicans, meaning in our Highlander example, there can be only one. Guarantee 11 incumbent Republicans will not be back in the state assembly after the elections later this year. Guess how many Democrat versus Democrat pairings there are. You would think fair maps would draw about an even number of Democrat v. Democrat pairings as Republican v. Republican pairings, right? Because it's only fair, and we're all about fairness in our maps, aren't we? Again, like the Senate maps, one Democrat v. Democrat pairing. So while there are 11, there's also one Republican versus Democrat pairing. And isn't that interesting that, no, I'm sorry, three Republican versus Democrat pairings. Isn't it interesting that by far, and it's not even close, by far the most pairings are Republican versus Republican? This is a well-worn gerrymandering tactic. You try to reduce the size. By definition, 17 Republicans, 6 members of the state Senate, and 11 members of the state assembly will be gone. Gone. Just out based on redistricting. Only 2 Democrats are guaranteed to be gone. 17 versus 2 doesn't seem pretty even now, does it? But of course, Craig Gilbert, who does do a very good job, he's left-leaning, but he is a very intelligent guy, and he does great political analysis. Of course, he sprinkles his bias in. He actually inadvertently proved that Evers' maps are, in fact, a partisan gerrymander with this passage. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that every voter in Wisconsin voted the same way for the state assembly as for the governor. In this hypothetical, the old maps would have generated a 60-39 majority for Republicans in the state assembly in 2022, even though they lost the governor's race by 3 points. The new maps would have generated a 52-47 Democratic majority. That's a swing of 13 seats in a 99-seat chamber. It is the difference between Republicans having a 21-seat edge and Democrats having a 5-seat edge. How do you do that unless you are deliberately attempting to cut down on a Republican majority? Moreover, can you assume that people vote the same way for state assembly as they do for governor? You most certainly cannot. Biggest reason why: people have a tendency to know personally, especially in smaller districts, their representatives. They're out on the street. They're pounding the pavement. They're glad-handing. They're doing constituent services. So what you'll see a whole lot of times are split tickets. And we actually have seen that. You don't see a whole lot of ticket splitting in statewide races. For example, we did see one in 2022 where the incumbent Governor Tony Evers won, a Democrat, and so too did incumbent Republican Senator Ron Johnson. But you actually do see this very often in congressional races, in state legislative races. In other words, there is a huge reason, other than gerrymandering by Republicans, that you get these big Republican majorities in the state legislature, but not in the gubernatorial race. And also this idea that, well, the total number of assembly votes gives Democrats. There's no such thing as a total assembly majority. They are broken up into 99 different districts. Now, Gilbert also says, piece published at jsonline.com, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel today, Republicans start out this fall with a huge head start in control of the state Senate, because among the 17 odd-numbered seats that were up in 2022, the GOP won 12 and lost 5. Those seats won't be up again until 2026. That means for the Senate to change hands this time, Republicans must lose all but 4 of the 16 Senate seats on the ballot this fall. And under the Evers map now in effect, 6 of those 16 districts have a strong GOP tilt. In other words, the GOP is almost certain to keep its state Senate majority until at least the 2026 election. In this key respect, the Evers map was not the best map for Democrats among those submitted to the state Supreme Court. No. Are you saying that there might have been stronger gerrymandering for Democrats amongst the other maps submitted by fair-minded liberals? Heaven forfend, Mr. Gilbert. For example, the map drafted by the Wright petitioners, a group of mathematicians and social scientists, was designed to put the state Senate in play this fall. Wait a second. It was designed to put the state Senate in play this fall. You mean it was intentionally drawn so that Democrats would have a better chance to win? Dave, what did we call that? I believe there was a guy named Elbridge Gerry who came up with the term for this, or at least it was named after him. He sort of drew districts like a salamander. There's a very famous political cartoon from which we get this name. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a gerrymander. Under that plan, 12 of the 16 seats on the 2024 ballot would have a Democratic lean, instead of the 10 under the Evers map. So you've got 10 of 16 seats up for re-election this year that have a Democratic lean. I mean, if the interest is fairness, I would think that number would be 8 and 8. I would think that most of those races wouldn't have any lean at all. I would think that you would, yes. And of course, the argument is, well, Dan, of course they need to gerrymander because Republican maps were so gerrymandered to begin with. Interestingly enough, did the state Supreme Court ever say that the 2011 redistricting was a gerrymander? It did not. Did the United States Supreme Court, when Democrats couldn't accept that they lost the first decision and took it to the federal courts, did the United States Supreme Court ever say that Republican maps were gerrymandered? It did not. Can you please tell me the only time the United States Supreme Court has ever declared a Wisconsin map to be unconstitutional as a gerrymander ever this century. Tony Evers' original maps, March 2022, the United States Supreme Court rejected them as a racial gerrymander. Democrats, in other words, are absolutely gerrymandering, and Republicans, essentially, they had no choice. They said, we had no choice but to sign these maps. It is, and if this is the best option, folks, you can imagine how terrible those other maps really were.
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no jobs too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services and host of the Designer Yard Show. I want to share a landscaping secret with you. Winter is when our ornamental trees and shrubs need us most. We all know that plants need pruning, but why in the winter? Well, first, we can see their structure best when the leaves have fallen. And second, pruning is not so stressful when your plants are dormant. Pruning is affordable and makes a huge impact on the vitality and beauty of your trees and shrubs. So prune this winter and have gorgeous flowers next spring and summer. Pruning also helps keep your plants properly sized. No more dancing around them on the sidewalk or wrestling through them to wash your windows. Call today and schedule a complimentary evaluation of your ornamental plants. Our plant care experts will make sure your trees, shrubs, and perennials perform and look their best. Discover the wonders of nature. Call Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services at 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Market volatility, global issues, inflation, still. More than a few headwinds this year. That's probably why Americans feel uncertain about their financial futures. Boomers, not much room for error. Gen X might need more than a 401k. And for millennials, it's time to get real about saving and investing. Talk to Annex Wealth Management. Build security with a partner on your side for unbiased advice. You may need more than investments. That's why Annex delivers tax and estate planning. There's an Annex plan personalized for you. Click the Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert, and I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
Discover your new smile today at the dental office of Dr. Matt Smith, Milwaukee's premier cosmetic dentist. Dr. Matt provides comfortable, customized care in a private spa-like setting. Dr. Matt leads the field in cosmetic dentistry and allows you to visualize your dream smile through his digital design process and see how gorgeous your smile is going to be. So get your confidence back, just like so many of his past patients. To see their stories and transformations, head to mattsmithdds.com, where they bring smiles to life. mattsmithdds.com.
Hi, I'm Joseph, owner of EWH University. Want to grow your business? Listen every Sunday at 11 a.m. on WISN for fuel, insights, and strategies. Or visit EWHUniversity.com. EWHUniversity.com.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
What if you actually loved your home improvement contractor? You'll know the feeling after our first date. This month, we're offering a $100 Bartolotta's gift card to anyone who purchases and another $100 gift card to anyone you refer. Book our date today at weathertightcorp.com.
There's a reason people sold to Grandview Homes instead of using a real estate agent.
The process with Grandview was virtually effortless. They give you a fair price offer, close quickly, and pay promptly.
Visit GrandviewHomes.com to discover the easiest and fastest way to sell a home.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
Security footprint for the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee has been released. How soon? And I want you folks on social media to be watching for this before lefties say our fair city is going to be turned into a police state. Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson and the Secret Service have released the map of the area, the green zone, if you will, that extends a couple blocks in each direction from the main RNC venues of Fiserv Forum, the UW Milwaukee Panther Arena, and the Baird Center. It's basically going to be from the Milwaukee River to near I-43. There's going to be increased security, and the reasons for this are pretty obvious. Not only do you have the Secret Service involved in protecting perhaps the past and future president, you've also got folks, I'm not going to lie, a truly staggering number of left-wing crazies are going to descend on Milwaukee this summer. I'm just brace for it, get ready for it, just anticipate it. Last year or last summer, they spent all their energy on the George Floyd riots. I have a very deep-seated concern that Milwaukee 2024 is going to resemble Chicago 1968. I just do. It's going to be Trump. The leftists are going to whip their people into a frenzy. They apparently have rent-a-mobs that they activate every 4 years. We didn't see it in 2016, folks, because nobody expected Trump to win. We saw it after he won. There was don't call it an insurrection of people just destroying Washington, D.C. as Trump was getting inaugurated. There were people taking to the streets. Do you remember, people forget about this, do you remember right before the 2020 election, all of the stories about the increased security in cities across the country bracing for the election? They weren't anticipating conservatives going nuts if Trump lost. They were anticipating the left-wing mobs going nuts if Trump won. And now that Biden is polling slightly better than chlamydia, it's a very real concern on the left that Trump is going to win again. What do you think is going to happen? I'm just concerned. As somebody who's going to be there, I'm just a little nervous. So let's extend, whatever the Secret Service says, let's extend that boundary by a good, let's go an extra 5 miles. Let's extend the boundary to Wauwatosa. Yeah, it'll be Wauwatosa, West Allis. Nobody gets in, nobody comes out. Oh, damn, how dare you. Also, I am continuing to notice the decidedly muted reaction to the RNC coming in 2024 compared to the pre-COVID-19 jubilation that the DNC was coming in 2020. It's just a hilarious dichotomy.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
Today's unhinged liberal of the day is brought to us by the great folks at Myth Informed MKE. These guys do incredible work highlighting unhinged Twitter leftists. Like these leftists who, in a recent thread on X, formerly known as Twitter, I know people complain with, you don't need to say formerly known as Twitter. That's exactly why I'm going to continue to say it. I'm going to call it Twitter, currently known as X. How about that? Cash me outside. How about that? So this group of ex-leftists, or if you will, Twitter, currently known as ex-leftists, got on one of their own for suggesting that the totally nonviolent, definitely not militant wing of the leftist movement, which encompasses a frightening percentage of the leftist movement, that they need to be in better physical shape to totally not commit acts of domestic terror or physically threaten anyone who opposes them. This was done by a guy who was retweeted by Myth-Informed MKE, and he digitized the voices. We tried to slow it down as much as possible. So these are computer-generated voices reading actual tweets from actual liberals going nuts that someone would dare say they need to be in better physical shape.
If you're a leftist, you need to be working out 4 to 5 days a week and learning self-defense, along with organizing with neighbors and in your local community for defense, food sovereignty, and community defense. There's no excuse not to do something to strengthen your body daily.
This is very ableist of you.
Saying work out if you can is not ableist.
I have a disability and chronic anxiety, comrade, and frankly physical fitness is right-coded fascism. I'm in wheelchair and have no arms.
Truly wild how y'all throw disabled people under the bus as lazy and regurgitate the same bootstraps talking points as the right.
Amazing how you call yourself a leftist, but this whole thread stinks of conservative bootstrap ideology. Like, damn, have you not heard of disability, chronic illness, food insecurity? What about people who work 2 to 3 jobs and actually do not have time to go to the gym or can't afford healthy food? The ableism and anti-fat bias and privilege in this thread is kinda astounding.
Being weak and undisciplined is not going to help the revolution.
My guy, this is literally fascist say, and you're on Twitter LARPing.
Twitter left being against self-discipline. My dude, you are not going to make it.
Self-discipline, listen to yourself. Huh? Self-discipline is a right-wing concept.
Self-discipline is a right-wing concept. Exercise is privilege. You don't have 5 minutes to do 25 push-ups, really? It's privilege. It's ableist. Ladies and gentlemen, these are liberals in 2024, and these are your unhinged liberals of the day. It never ceases to amaze me. What is suddenly fascist, what is suddenly going to kill us all in a climate change holocaust, and of course, what is suddenly racist. We turned this genre of leftism and lefty journalism into America's favorite game show, Guess What's Racist? We are going to play coming up in the 10 o'clock hour. And also the left currently freaking out about Donald Trump daring to accuse the American left of behaving an awful lot like Vladimir Putin. Are his comparisons apt? Well, seeing as he currently faces 91 felony charges and didn't face a single criminal charge until he announced that he was running for president in 24, there just might be something to that.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Tad Allen. Yesterday's primary election set a couple of matchups for area mayoral seats. In Milwaukee, incumbent Cavalier Johnson will be challenged by preacher Dr. David King in the April 2nd general election. Johnson took 87% of the vote from a 3-person field, while King got 10%. Out of a 9-person field in the mayoral primary area in Kenosha. Alderman David Bogdala and City Plan Commissioner Lydia Spotswood got the top 2 vote totals to advance to a spring face-off. The two will vie to replace outgoing Mayor John Antaramian, who's not seeking re-election. Also at the polls, voters in Waterford, Wilmot, and Burlington voted down school referendums. Eric Hovde officially launched his U.S. Senate campaign yesterday. The Madison Republican pitched his business background.
Politicians, in large part, don't understand how an economy works, and certainly not our modern financial economy. We need economic competency brought to Washington, D.C.
Hovde hopes to derail Democrat Tammy Baldwin's bid for a 3rd term in November. Wisconsin Democrats have spent months portraying Hovde as an out-of-touch millionaire. The U.S. is getting criticism for vetoing a United Nations resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. China said the veto sends the wrong message, while leading aid groups expressed dismay. Washington had circulated a separate draft resolution calling for a temporary pause in fighting. Checking the WISN Sports Scoreboard, men's college basketball, Marquette matches up against DePaul tonight at the Fiserv Forum. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Ahlin on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Michael Lynch from the Lynch Truck Center. We've been working hard sourcing work trucks from all over the country. We currently have over 300 commercial work trucks in stock and ready for your choice of upfit. Our sales team is 100% dedicated to commercial trucks, which means our truck professionals can get you the right truck right now. Our new inventory of Chevrolet, GMC, Isuzu, Hino, not to mention our used inventory, combined with nearly 30 commercial financial lenders, ensures the lowest rates possible for you and the fastest buying experience. Our service center has over 20 dedicated truck bays running 2 shifts, a contact-free sales process, and delivery drivers ready to deliver your truck right to your door. We know your time is important, so we make sure our process is quick and hassle-free. Find your new truck today at lynchtruckcenter.com or stop into the Lynch Truck Center at Highway 36 in Waterford. We won't disappoint you.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
A few sprinkles or an isolated shower are possible Wednesday morning. Otherwise, we'll hang on to partly cloudy skies today with high temperatures in the low 50s north to the mid and upper 50s south. A southwest wind about 5 to 10 miles an hour. I'm Fox 6 meteorologist Lisa Michaels.
This report is sponsored by Grand Appliance. Shop the President's Day sale at Grand Appliance for unbeatable deals on top brands like Electrolux, Frigidaire, and more. Forget the big box. Grand beats them every time. Shop grandappliance.com or your local showroom. That's Grand Appliance, appliance expert since 1930.
Team up with the Brewers for an epic company event this season. With the Brewers Group Outing, you can trade weekday meetings for a fun-filled day at American Family Field, featuring options like tailgate spaces, all-inclusive areas, seating blocks, and much more. Plus, Brewers ticket representatives will make planning your event simple, as they'll be your personal concierge while booking your outing. Start planning your company outing today at brewers.com/groups.
Sendix just bought 5 truckloads of delicious seafood and are passing the savings on to you. Check out these half-price deals today. Jumbo Canadian walleye fillets are just $7.99 a pound. And if you love shrimp, raw 31 to 35-count butterflied shrimp are $3.99 a pound. Sendix large Golden King crab legs are just $17.99 a pound. And premium farm-raised Chilean coho salmon fillets are just $6.99 a pound. Get your order in on these and other amazing seafood deals now at Sendix.com. Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
Hi, I'm Nick from Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, and we'll buy your home as is in cash in as little as 1 week. You heard that right, as is in 1 week. We're a local family business that pays cash for properties as is. Just visit MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com to learn more.
Hickory dickory dock, the mouse ran into a gap in your air ducts, made a nest, pooped, and died. Breathe easy after Clean Living Environments cleans your air ducts, will seal air in and mice out. Get more out of your ducts, cleanlivingenvironments.com. That's cleanlivingenvironments.com.
With nearly 50 years of experience, my dad, Jim Mullally, has taught my cousin Mark everything he knows. In fact, he bestowed so much expertise onto Mark that Mark went to New York to compete against the top furniture finishers in the country. And you know what? He won. So if you're looking for the finest of furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. The bulk of our business is in wood furniture restoration. We found that there are a lot of folks out there with antique furniture and heirloom pieces that are in good shape, but just need to be brought back to life again. Well, that's our specialty. And right here in Mequon, you'll find one of the country's top furniture finishers. So if you want only the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-522-5700. 800-522-5700.
News Talk 1130 WISN. Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Offering one of the strongest lineups of talk show hosts in the history of local radio. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
So on the DanoCam, I can see how many people are watching at a time, how many likes, how many hearts, how many whatever. I can also see when we're being throttled. Oh, is this because my video has been blocked? All right. In Belarus and Russia, because of a Warner Brothers copyright claim against some of the bumper music that we use. But I didn't know I had such a huge audience in Belarus and Russia. I can see that because we only have like one like, that clearly the content is getting throttled. I have noticed, incidentally, on both WISN's Facebook page and my own Facebook page, ever since the calendar flipped to 2024, our content gets distributed to far fewer people. This isn't a conspiracy. Facebook has basically admitted, yeah, we throttle content. Yeah, we're going to enforce censorship. This is why it was so critical that Elon Musk, what Musk has said is, $44 billion didn't buy Twitter. $44 billion bought free speech. The public square is now digital. It's now social media. It's now Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, X, and especially the most important, by far, the most important for political speech was Twitter. It was where every journalist, every politician, every activist, everybody was. It serves as, and has always served, really for the past decade plus, as the new news ticker. I use Twitter. I am on X constantly, not because I think the world needs a constant, steady stream of my innermost thoughts. Like I'm not tweeting, think I'm going to have a ham sandwich. No, I'm constantly on there because I follow 1,000+ news accounts and I'm getting a steady stream of news and just reaction to what's going on in real time. It's an invaluable tool. This is why Elon Musk was public enemy number one as soon as he announced plans to buy Twitter. He stole the left's favorite toy from them. He took it away. And this is why, hilariously, every single leftist, do you remember when the takeover, when Musk first bought X, it was, November of 22, something like that? And he walked in holding a sink, and he said, I'm now in Twitter headquarters, let that sink in. Musk tries very desperately to be funny. He's got about a 75% success rate. He is a funny dude. Leftists freaked out. They immediately used their Twitter accounts to say, find me on Blue Sky. Find me on Mastodon. Find me on Facebook Threads. And they tried desperately to quit, but they couldn't. They knew that the restoration of even one channel of free speech was devastating for them, because when people are actually allowed to present the opposing side of the neo-socialist worldview, that opposing side wins every single time. Leftism is phenomenally unpopular. Leftists win through brute force. So there was a concerted effort by the Biden administration to take down Elon Musk and his various businesses. He's noticed that in the state of Delaware, where his companies are incorporated, he's been targeted nonstop. Various federal regulators have all of a sudden, do you remember, as I do, when Elon Musk was the fair-haired child of the American left because he was making electric vehicles cool? Finally, we were going to get away from gas-guzzling SUVs, and this was the modern-day Thomas Edison who was going to get us there. Well, as soon as he started saying conservative things, and especially after he bought Twitter, that stopped. All of a sudden, he faced government regulation. All of a sudden, he faced government targeting. He noticed, and he started talking about it, which made them target him even more. This is the sort of thing that doesn't often happen in a truly free society, and it's something that is relatively recent. The weaponization of the awesome power of the federal government's investigative and regulatory powers against political dissidents. We first saw this in a huge form back in 2013 when the Obama administration's IRS was signaling out for advanced scrutiny, for additional scrutiny than it would give any other group, anyone who had the words Tea Party, conservative, right, various buzzwords that would immediately trigger audits. This was a huge scandal 11 years ago. Obama, of course, heard about it on the news. And the IRS director at the time, Lois Lerner, retired before she had any consequences. They blamed it on low-level employees in Cincinnati. Well, that was mere peanuts compared to what's happened over the last couple of years. Almost as soon as Donald Trump announced that he was running for president again in 2024, back on November 18th, 2022, the 15th, 3 days later, a special counsel was impaneled to investigate him. Trump was originally impeached, and there was a trial in the Senate after he left office over his role in inciting the insurrection on January 6th. It was aimed solely at preventing him from running for president again. Now, we talk all the time here on the Dan O'Donnell Show about criminality, right? About the criminal mindset. Typically, a criminal is committing crimes between the age of about 14 and 40, right? Have you ever heard of somebody starting to commit crimes in their 70s? Like somebody goes their entire life, they're a successful businessman. They are a successful politician. Then in their golden years, you know what? I'm going to start robbing banks. Typically doesn't happen, does it? Only after Donald Trump announced that he was going to run for president in 2024 was he charged with 91 separate felonies in 2 different states and in 2 separate federal cases. This used to never happen in America. And in fact, this is the first time this has ever happened in America. Such a transparent attempt to criminalize political opposition. It was always obvious from the moment that Trump left Washington, D.C. in 2021 that he was going to be back running again in 2024. And it was only after he officially announced that all of these criminal prosecutions got going in earnest. And wouldn't you know it, every single one was timed to go to trial right before the election. So instead of campaigning, Trump would have to worry about being in a courtroom. And wouldn't you know it, at the exact moment where Trump needs to raise a whole lot of money to pay for a presidential run, he's been fined $400 million plus and interest that he needs to pay off in 30 days, or now Letitia James has said she's going to start seizing his buildings. Instead of Trump Tower, just call it Tish Tower for Tish James. By the way, the governor of New York, a Democrat, actually congratulated Tish James on securing a conviction, or not a conviction, a judgment against Trump.
Just got off the phone with Attorney General Tish James and spoke to her about how this sends a strong message that in the state of New York, business people who commit fraud and to hide their assets will be caught and prosecuted, whether you're the President of the United States, a past president and forever past president of the United States.
Did you catch that? Forever past president. She had to get that in there. It was almost subliminal. It was almost subconscious, her desire to admit this is all about keeping him from winning the presidency again.
United States, or you're an ordinary business person, no one is above the law here in the state of New York. And I congratulate her and her effort for making sure that that is a message that is heard loud and clear, not just here in New York, but across this entire nation.
She was practically jubilant over this judgment. She's practically jubilant that Trump is going to be harmed politically by this, by a prosecutor who campaigned before there was ever a case against Donald Trump, who campaigned on the idea of, quote, getting Trump, of using her office to take down Donald Trump. Her words, not mine.
No one is above the law, including this illegitimate president. And so, I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
Will you sue him for us?
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the ass. He's going to know my name personally.
We'll never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake. I believe that the president of these United States can be indicted for criminal offenses. In addition to that, the Office of Attorney General will continue to follow the money because we believe that he's engaged in a pattern and practice of money laundering the money from foreign governments here in New York State, and particularly related to his real estate holdings. It's important that everyone understand that the days of Donald Trump are coming to an end.
Now, does that sound like something a fair-minded prosecutor who's only interested in upholding the interests of justice would say? All of those statements were made before she became Attorney General. Before a single shred of evidence was collected or presented, she is already saying, if you elect me to a partisan office, I will prosecute your political enemies. Once she did in a civil case, not a criminal case, and got a massive judgment that is going to just destroy Donald Trump's ability to fund his campaign by taking away all of his available cash reserves, she gets a congratulatory phone call from the Democrat governor of New York, who, by the way, just had to call into a radio show to assure other businesses, no. New York is not going to target you. Trump is different. Well, why is he different? Why? Why is he all of a sudden charged with all of these crimes, all of which are charged under novel legal theories that really haven't been applied anywhere else? Trump dared to say, following the death of Alexei Navalny, a Russian dissident and opposition leader who was murdered by Vladimir Putin, that This is very similar to what's going on in the United States, jailing political opposition. And the left freaked out, of course, because Trump called them on exactly what they're doing to him. Last night, Trump was on a town hall meeting on the Laura Ingraham show, and she asked him about
People
this.
around the world are expressing outrage over the death of Alexei Navalny, of course, in a horrific Russian prison. You posted on Truth Social about it. You said that his death made you more aware of the political circumstances here at home.
It's happening here.
Specifically your rivals. I want to give you the chance to expand on that, because obviously your opponents have used that to say, again, pro-Putin, don't care about human rights or freedom, the freedom movement. And so what does that mean when you said it made you more aware of your circumstances here?
Navalny is a very sad situation, and he's very brave. He was a very brave guy because he went back. He could have stayed away. And frankly, probably would have been a lot better off staying away and talking from outside of the country as opposed to having to go back in, because people thought that could happen, and it did happen. And it's a horrible thing. But it's happening in our country, too. We are turning into a communist country in many ways. And if you look at it, I'm the leading candidate. I got indicted. I never heard of being indicted before. I got indicted 4 times. I have 8 or 9 trials, all because of the fact that and you know this, all because of the fact that I'm in politics. They indicted me on things that are so ridiculous.
Has Trump ever faced criminal prosecution at any point in his life, save for the time where there were 4 consecutive in 3 different jurisdictions, 1 federal, 2 state, all decided to go after him at the exact same time? No. No. Why did this all happen at the exact same time? Just pure random coincidence? This is exactly the sort of stuff that goes on in Russia. The only difference is that Trump hasn't been poisoned. That's honest to goodness the only difference. They are using the power of government, just as Putin is, to try to lock up their political opponent. I see very little difference other than the torture and abuse. They're trying to bankrupt this man for defrauding 0 banks. 0 banks. Was there any bank that served as a complaining witness in a fraud trial that is going to cost Trump nearly $500 million? Not one. Not one. Under one of the more unconstitutional laws I think I've ever heard of, that the state of New York, even if there is no victim, the state of New York itself can claim that it is a victim of your fraud, even though nobody else is. Even though every loan that Trump ever made was paid back. Even though no bank ever complained, he has to pay $500 million in an election year in which he might have been able to use that money to self-fund a presidential campaign. Do I have all of this right? And how about this? He also has to pay a woman who has never been able to definitively say when Trump raped her. She appears to have drawn the story directly from a Law and Order SVU episode, a show that she admitted to watching. And she said she loved watching her rapist, Donald Trump, on The Apprentice years after that alleged rape. She had no idea what time of the year, what year this was. She says, well, it was probably this year because my friend was working on a magazine story about Donald Trump. Nobody saw this happen in a crowded department store. Yet Trump is adjudged to be liable. He is adjudged to have defamed her for saying, I didn't rape this woman. This is exactly these trumped up charges. In Georgia, the idea that Trump saying, hey, I would like an investigation into what I believe to be a stolen election is now what? What sort of crime is that? That is the First Amendment saying, hey, I believe I was cheated here. I believe that the election in Georgia wasn't legitimate. This is now an effort to undo democracy? Give me a break. Ask Al Gore whether he thinks he legitimately lost the 2000 election. Then tell me if it would be reasonable to lock up Al Gore, hopefully in a climate-friendly prison. Trump, in this interview with Laura Ingraham, said what they're doing to him is a variation of what the Russians did to Navalny.
It is a form of Navalny. It is a form of communism or fascism. The guy's a nut job. I've known this for a long time, and I've said it openly. No jury, no anything. Letitia James is horrible attorney general in New York, campaigned on I will get Trump, I will get Trump. We went through a trial. It turned out we're totally innocent on everything, and he fined me $355 million plus interest on other things. $355. And what we did, in fact, my financial statements were conservative. Everybody made money. There was no victim. The bank gets up and says, we love this guy. I mean, they
You
love
paid
Trump.
back the loans.
100%. No defaults, no anything.
This is the issue, folks. They are inventing standards. They are inventing laws. In New York, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, Cyrus Vance, who arguably was even more to the left of Bragg, said, no, there is no criminal case for Trump. There is no criminal case against Trump. Bragg takes the case, and he's arguing that the hush money payments to Stormy Daniels essentially amounted to a campaign finance violation, which isn't a felony, but he made it a felony solely so that the statute of limitations wouldn't run. Also, it's not a state crime, it's a federal crime, but he's claiming state jurisdiction over this. In other words, there was no way he should have been able to prosecute this crime, but he's doing so anyway. And what Trump allegedly did, like, think about it like this. You get caught doing the dirty with a porn star, and you want to pay her some hush money. Are you caring more about your presidential run, or are you caring more about your wife murdering you and possibly pulling a John Wayne Bobbitt on you? Remember old Lorena? It's an old reference. Look it up, but be forewarned, you might squeal. They can't even demonstrate that this definitively was a campaign donation. It's ludicrous on its face. Even Cyrus Vance says this isn't criminal conduct. I can't charge this. Alvin Bragg does. Alvin Bragg, who is also promising, I am going to use the power of my office to take out our political enemies. Then you have a special prosecutor at the federal level in Jack Smith, who is also prosecuting Trump, quote, denying the results of the election. Denying the results of the election. Every Democrat in the universe, you still had Jen Psaki on her MSNBC show asking Nancy Pelosi, what do the Russians have on Trump that he just won't criticize Putin? There was a years-long federal investigation that found no ties between the Trump campaign, Trump personally, or anybody else and Vladimir Putin. Yet there is still a massive majority of Democrats who believe that Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, riding shirtless on a horse together, swooped in and hacked the brains of American voters. They hacked the election. Remember that one? Russians hacked the election. Ask Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton still doesn't believe that the 2016 election was on the up and up. Guess what? The First Amendment protects her right to say that. Not Trump, though. First Amendment protected conduct is now criminal. It's a criminal conspiracy that Trump was trying to get the Secretary of State of Georgia to investigate what he believed was outcome determinative fraud. That's criminal. That's First Amendment protected speech. It's lobbying an elected official to do something. That is exactly the proper course of action that a losing candidate should take. By the way, was there ever an election that was, or an investigation that was undertaken into that election? No. Did Trump just sort of stay in office post January 20th, 2021, declare himself dictator? No, he left. He left that same day. He didn't even stay for the inauguration. He got on Trump Force One and was peace out by about 12 noon. It's the Mar-a-Lago charges. We're criminalizing the Presidential Records Act, which is a non-criminal statute. Every single prosecution, they're just inventing legal standards to take out their political enemies. And then they have the absolute gall Oh, Trump is a dictator because he's noticing our dictatorial behavior. I'll tell you what, we need to lighten things up. So coming up next, let's play a little Guess What's Racist, shall we? We need a contestant. Caller number 25 at 414-799-1130 or 1-800-838-9476.
Our mission is to protect and uphold our reputation. At Semper Fi, it's the banner we all march under, because the reputation we earn and uphold belongs to all of us. And without a strong reputation in the exterior remodeling business, you're here today and gone tomorrow. And when you've earned a good reputation, that's what makes the difference in value. It's the little extra that you get for the price. And that assurance is actually what counts the most, because it means the good money you're spending with us is not going to go to waste. A roof you can rely on, with a warranty that has a backbone, Craftsman quality airtight window and door installations, brick and stone masonry that's clean and sharp, and new siding that's been known to stop traffic. And it's all backed by a team that over the last 20 years have put a lot of heart and soul into building a reputation that you can believe in. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130, WISN.
The Spirit drove Jesus out into the desert, and he remained in the desert for 40 days, tempted by Satan. Hello, this is Archbishop Listecki. As we begin our Lenten journey, the world attempts to turn us away from the mission God established for all of us. During these 40 days, we courageously confront the demons of our world, and with confidence we pledge our commitment to Christ. Christ, who is truly present to us in the Eucharist at Mass. This Lent, join us for Mass.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
It's easy to see. We're being conned by the institutions we used to trust. The mainstream media is distracting us with meaningless headlines, instead of focusing on the harsh realities facing American families. We all know something big is coming, and that's why so many folks are preparing. They're becoming more self-reliant by investing in emergency food storage from My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply is the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, and they make it easy for you to prepare. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and secure some emergency food kits. There's a dozen to choose from that contain tasty breakfasts, lunches, and dinners, averaging 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one food kit for each family member. My Patriot Supply also sells large solar generators, gravity-powered water filtration systems, heirloom seeds for your garden, and survival gear. Order by 3 p.m. and your items will ship that same day. Time is short. Prepare today. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
This grave injustice, this Soviet-style weaponization of government against political opposition and political dissidents is precisely why I completely understand why so many Republicans, so many conservatives flocked to Trump instantly. I admit I did too. Second he was indicted, it was April of 2023. I believe we were on the air when it happened. Alvin Bragg, first time in history that a former president has ever been criminally charged. And it's a brand new legal standard that has never been used to prosecute another human being until Donald Trump. The year before Donald Trump runs for president again. Okay. I have long thought, because so many people have already made up their minds on Trump, that Trump wasn't our strongest candidate. But boy, oh boy, do I understand supporting Trump. And I do. I full-throatedly support Trump against this obvious effort to criminalize political opposition. That's all it is. Think about it like this, folks. for the first 70 years of this man's life. He is like a beloved figure in New York. Written about, he's this playboy. Everybody loves Trump. He's on Apprentice. He's on Celebrity Apprentice. Everybody. And then all of a sudden, he starts committing crimes and starts raping women. Okay. Never even a whiff of this sort of behavior before he turns 70. Tell me another human being who just started committing crimes at 70. Any crimes, doesn't matter. Just first crime committed at 70 years old. There, every couple of years, there's a story about a little old lady who, what was it? There was one, it was her bucket list item to be arrested and booked into jail because she thought it would be thrilling. She's like 85 years old, and the cops come, and of course they're super gentle, and they're like, okay, Mabel, come with us. And they pretend like they're actually booking her, and they put her in a cell. There's news stories about it. Every so often, you'll see some dude rob a bank just because he wanted to see the thrill of it. He's got like terminal cancer or something. Once every 10 years or something, you'll see a story like this. It'll make the odd news section of the internet, or it'll make How Bizarre here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It doesn't happen. It never happens, except to someone who stands up against the neo-Soviets. All right, I know. We're running real late, so it is time now to play America's favorite game show.
Guess What's Racing?
Our contestant today comes to us all the way from Oregon. He is in the Chaz zone of Portland. He has currently declared himself to be the Hobo King. No, he's actually from Oregon, Wisconsin, not Oregon the state. Jason, welcome to Guess What's Racist.
Glad to be here.
Jason, here's how our game works. I'm sure you are a loyal listener. I'm sure you know the rules, but for those who don't, I am going to give you a list of 3 things. Related though they may be, none of them are on their face racist. One of them, however, within the last couple of days, and we've got a new one. We have got a first for Guess What's Racist. Would you believe one of these things? I was looking for one better question than the one I had. One of these things was just declared to be racist like 45 minutes ago during the show. This is this is how often this new style of journalism occurs. You'll see a story every single day where some leftist is declaring some totally benign thing to be horribly racist and evidence of America's white supremacy. We have seen this ever since George Floyd. It is your job to guess which of the 3 things has been suddenly declared racist. Are you ready to play, Jason?
I am ready to check my privilege and play the game.
Check away, sir. Question 1. Guess what's racist? Music, movies, or TV?
I would go with music.
That is correct. According to Daily Show correspondent Dulce Sloan, who on MSNBC this week, while talking about the supposed conservative backlash to Beyonce doing a country album, said every form of music in America is actually stolen from black people.
If white people hated cultural appropriation, then they shouldn't have created music. Because every form of music in America was stolen from black people. Rock and roll, jazz, blues, country, pop music. So if you have a problem with cultural appropriation, y'all created classical music. Y'all could have stuck with that.
So wait, she says if black people, you shouldn't have created music, but the music you created is actually... You do realize that like every chord progression that we have that is popular is from classical, right? In fact, there have been comedy bits that have been done about how many pop songs use the exact same chord progression as Pachelbel's Canon in D. So does this mean that all R&B is an appropriation, a cultural appropriation of Pachelbel? What was Pachelbel? German? Whatever. So you are 1 for 1, Jason, doing great. Guess what's racist? Nikki Haley's elementary school, Nikki Haley's middle school, or Nikki Haley's high school?
Have to go elementary on this one.
definitely wrong. I'm sorry, Jason. That overconfidence clearly a sign of your white supremacy. You just don't know the Washington Post well enough. Article that was published yesterday. Haley's nearly all-white high school lacked lessons of racism, some say. Haley left her hometown's integrated public school system and attended a high school newly created from the merger of two segregation academies. According to the story, at her new high school, where the daughter of Indian immigrants was one of the only non-white students, some classmates said in interviews that they weren't adequately instructed about South Carolina's history of divisive racial issues, from Jim Crow laws to Ku Klux Klan raids to lynchings. Most glaringly, they said, was a lack of emphasis on the Orangeburg Massacre, a brutal confrontation 2 decades earlier in which white law enforcement officers killed 3 black students. 1 for 2, Jason. Final question for you. And this is a story that literally went online while I was on the air. Guess what's racist? Nails, hair, or eyelashes?
I would say eyelashes.
Sorry, it is hair. Posted just a couple of minutes ago at thehill.com, of all places, by Cheyenne Humphrey of the Associated Press. How did hair become part of school dress codes? Some students see vestiges of racism. For as long as schools have policed hairstyles as part of their dress codes, some students have seen the rules as attempts to deny their cultural and religious identities. Not too bad, Jason. You went 1 for 3, 33%. So you still have a ways to go to fully understanding your role in America's systemic racism, but we do say thank you for playing so much. We do appreciate it.
I feel more enlightened. Thank you, Dad.
And that is the goal. That is the ultimate prize. Not physical, but spiritual. Enlightenment is what we strive for here on America's favorite game show. Guess What's Racist? Dan O'Donnell here for Mander Collision and Glass, the best decision after a collision. And you hear me talking all the time about how great Mander is, but here's customer Amber, who writes, the quality of customer service at Mander in Muskego has far exceeded my expectations. After being involved in an accident, not my fault, and having experienced some significant difficulties communicating with the individual that hit me, Mander went above and beyond to ensure my needs were being met. I have never felt so confident and secure as a customer. The staff truly has their customers' best interests at heart and shows it through their actions. Thank you, Mander, for alleviating my stress through an undesirable chain of events. Thanks so much for sharing your experience, Amber, because that's yet another reason why I recommend Mander so highly. Now with 6 locations to serve you, Mander truly is your best decision after a collision.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at adventknows.com, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
AdventKnows.com.
Results may vary.
With Carrier's innovation and D&M's expertise, check out our top-selling system, Carrier's Hybrid Crossover, a performance 2-speed high-efficient furnace, a slim outdoor heat pump paired with a smart Ecobee control, lower cost of utilities, excellent comfort, low noise, top rebates, and big tax credits, and financing. All boxes checked off. It has never been a better time to buy. Turn to the experts, Carrier and D&M.
D&M at your service.
Call 281-5350 or visit us at dmheating.com.
On the football field, Tim Tebow was a national college champion and NFL quarterback. He was equally well known for being an outspoken, unapologetic champion for Christianity. You're invited to hear Tim Tebow speak about his football and faith journeys and how you can be a champion for Jesus at the March 7th, 2024 Covering the World in Christ celebration in West Bend. You don't want to miss this powerful event. For tickets and more information, visit csuiteforchrist.com.
Merle, what are you doing up here?
Shouting good news from the rooftops, okay.
What do you mean you became an electrician?
We know Capital's been doing electrical for a while now.
But it's been kind of a secret exclusive thing, Merle.
Might not be time to announce Capital does electrical, bud.
Wow.
He's super passionate about this.
You're right, Merle.
All of Milwaukee and beyond deserves to hear it.
If you have an electrical issue,
There's only one place with highly trained electricians
who never cut corners,
and take the time to get the job done right.
we'll join you, Merle.
Let's shout it from the rooftops, buddy. Capital does electrical.
If you've got an electrical issue, call Capital today or schedule online at callcapitalcares.com.
Wisconsin, you deserve better. You deserve stress-free quality roofing. Let Klaus Roofing Systems by Buck Buckley, BBB award-winning service, take care of you and your family. For a free roofing consultation, visit KlausRoofingByBuck.com. And remember, put a Klaus on your house.
Sneezing, coughing, stuffy nose, runny nose, postnasal drip, interrupted sleeping. I was groggy at the end of the day.
Allergies and sinus congestion were making Jana miserable. Then, a friend recommended Navage. Navage provides immediate drug-free congestion relief, flushing your nasal passages with refreshing saline and sucking out mucus, germs, and other airborne irritants. Navage helps you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel your best right away.
Navage gave me instant relief. I didn't have to wait 30 minutes. I didn't have to wait an hour, 90 minutes. I didn't have to wait a minute. I ran the rinse and I felt better.
Stop suffering from congestion and start breathing and feeling your best again with Navage. Navage.
I've had people ask me how I find relief, and I tell them Navage immediately. This thing is amazing.
Navage is available at Navage.com or at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid.
It's Nye's Hardware's Woodworking Show this Saturday 9 to 4. Tool vendors on site, show specials, and local woodworking enthusiasts. Catch deals like the DeWalt miter saw for $399.99. Get a free battery with select Milwaukee tools. Bosch router kits are $199.99. Enjoy Craig's show specials and get 10% off all Jet and Powermatic woodworking machines. This Saturday, February 24th from 9 to 4. Nye's, great hardware, big on tools. Highways 4145 and Q in Menominee Falls. Visit NAUSHardware.com for details.
Visit BrilloHomeImprovements.com.
Conservatism, contemporary style. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. James Biden is testifying before the House Oversight Committee behind closed doors about his totally legitimate business dealings with his brother Joe. James Biden is one of the nation's foremost experts in rural health care. I'll bet you didn't know that. And this is why it was such a shock to everyone that the company he was hired to head, AmeriCorps, failed and committed massive amounts of Medicare fraud. It was also a shock that people are criticizing James for wanting to give Joe, also one of the nation's leading experts in rural health care, a seat on the board of AmeriCorps and also equity in the company itself. If you couldn't tell I was being facetious, you have not been listening to this radio show enough. Biden was rather obviously, both Bidens. Hell, there's a whole lot of Bidens. The Bidens apparently multiply like rabbits. They multiply like the Easter bunny that needs to steer old Joe away from the media so he doesn't talk to them and embarrass himself at the White House Easter egg roll. Still one of the funniest things I have ever seen in all my years covering American politics. Look it up. Joe Biden, Easter bunny, it's all you need. The poor dude in the Easter bunny suit is frantically waving at us. Joe, no, come over here. Come over here. Don't go by the press. You haven't had your happy pills yet. We don't know what you're going to say. All of them were involved in one of the oldest scams in politics. It's influence peddling. It is selling to the highest bidder access to a politician with the implicit understanding that said politician will do whatever it is you want, will grease whatever skids that need greasing in exchange for payments to members of the family. If they're just paying Joe, which James stupidly suggested in an email obtained by Politico and published over the weekend, it's too easy to get caught. So you pay family members. This is done all the time. All the time. From the time that people realize, what was it, Benjamin Franklin, that said, when the people realize that they can vote themselves money, that shall herald the end of our republic. Well, when businesses realize that they could buy politicians, that shall herald and has heralded the end of honest government. You know what this is? This is Thug Mike McGee in the city of Milwaukee walking around because he was on the licensing committee, walking around to various bars saying, you got to pay me, otherwise you don't get your liquor license renewed. Now, the Bidens are a tad more intelligent and refined than old Thug Mike, who I think is still in federal prison. I'm not sure. He's reached out to me a couple of times, and I don't know if he knows who I am, or it was kind of a generic thing. I don't know if he was looking to get back in the good graces of, I don't know if he thought I owned a bar and he was trying to shake me down for money. I'm not exactly sure. It's a few years ago. Nonetheless, it's essentially the same scam. It's bribery, it's influence peddling, and it is illegal. We'll see exactly what comes out of this testimony. Dan O'Donnell Show, coming right back.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Most people know us as a trusted landscape contractor, but did you know that we've been crafting decorative concrete and masonry features for almost 30 years? All concrete is not the same. Do you know what to ask for when planning a landscape project that includes concrete? For example, there are many types of concrete mixes available, and if you don't request a premium mix, you'll likely get a bargain mix, and a driveway or patio made with a bargain mix is not a bargain at all. We use only premium concrete mixes from trusted producers, and our decorative concrete and masonry features are crafted by our own artisans, not subcontractors. There's so much to consider when preparing for your landscaping project. Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services has been serving southeastern Wisconsin since 1994. We are an established, trusted landscape contractor. Please call 262-392-3444 or look for us online at seasonalservices.com.
Whether it was from a burn, heat, water, or candle wax spill, if you have a great piece of wood furniture that has a damaged top, don't worry, because if we have to, we can refinish tops only. Other places may say you need to refinish the whole piece, but we can do better than that. So don't let your great piece go to waste. If it's just the top you need refinished, or for jobs of any size, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. He was told it would cost him $1,000 to refinish his chair. But when it was done, he'd be able to sell it for at least twice that. Only to find out that he paid more to refinish the chair than it was actually worth. You gotta watch out for dishonest people out there. But not over here. With over 50 years of experience, we'll give you a good idea of the value of your piece and whether it's worth refinishing. So for honest answers, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts.
Look, Dickie, Grandma get letter from lawyer in Krakenova.
What?
Old boyfriend leave Grandma money.
Grandma, this is a sizable amount from Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah, Grandma date one time. We meet that anyone can polka class for a night, but he way too fast with hands.
The Boris Yeltsin?
Yeah, what I do with money, Dickie?
Only one thing to do.
Hit Vegas?
No, let's go to First American Bank. They have lots of great deposit choices like high-interest CDs, money market accounts.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want smart cracker.
Cookie.
You want a cookie, Dickie?
No, never mind. Let's go to First American Bank right now.
Okay.
You dated Boris Yeltsin?
Yeah.
The Prime Minister of Russia?
No, Boris F. Yeltsin. Full paper hanging in Minsk.
Oh, what's the F stand for? Fast?
No, Frida.
Huh?
His mama want a girl.
I got it.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. So whatever it's about, savings, checking, loans, mortgages, or more, visit firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Jay Weber here. If you're someone who is experiencing shoulder, hip, or knee pain and a total joint replacement may be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Find them at orthowisconsin.com. At Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, their physicians are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
When a service member or first responder dies or is catastrophically injured in the line of duty, okay, who's there to help them or their families left behind? Who's helping our homeless vets and our nation to never forget 9/11? Well, that's the Tunnel to Towers Foundation, and right now they can only continue this great work with your generosity. We hope you'll join all of us here at Team Hannity. Go to their website, commit to $11 a month. It's the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation.
Replacing windows is a big decision. Where do you start? Hi, this is Terry Ladwick, owner of All American Window and Door Company. The right place to start is our showroom. It's designed for browsing. Open windows, close windows. We'll even let you slam a few doors. We're the proud winner of the 2009 BBB Torch Award for Business Ethics and Integrity. That leaves no doubt you've come to the right place. All American Window and Door Company on Mequon Road in Germantown. 262-255-7170. Estimates are free.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynavite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynavite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at DINOVITE.com/radio. That's Dynavite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynavite.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Criminal complaint has been released in the case against Adam Westbrook, the Outagamie County HR director and Brew City Sisters drag queen. Adam Westbrook charged with 8 felonies. And the details of this case are, well, they're pretty damn bad. This is part of an active investigation that started with the arrest of a sheriff's deputy who was, shall we say, taking his gun out of its holster in a gas station bathroom. We are almost done with the Dan O'Donnell Show. I'll have details, and I will warn you they are rather graphic. Coming up on the Mark Belling late afternoon show, it is interesting. We still cannot get a single member of the media to report that Mr. Westbrook was a member of the Brew City Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. Why? Why? They're just drag queens who like dressing up as nuns. So there's a little blasphemy going on. Let's invite all of them, and I mean all of them, to our church library to read the Bible to kids. What could possibly go wrong? It's amazing how hard and fast they cling to their narrative, isn't it, folks? You just will not, if you don't listen to this show, you will have no idea that a drag queen is currently charged with heinous exploitation of children and possession of child pornography. More on this coming up after 3 o'clock on the Mark Belling Late Afternoon Show.